Thank you for joining me on my masterclass. Now, today we're going to be hearing from Bill Gates about the secret to his success, why he is successful, and he actually puts it down in just one sentence. Now, let's listen to him. Now, Bill Gates used to be the richest man in the world. Now, he's still one of the richest men in the world. I think he's in the top five. But what he said is so poignant, and felt that my listeners, my followers, my subscribers needed to hear from him. So now let's hear from him.
Reading is key, and then asking questions when it doesn't make sense.
So you watched that interview. Now, he was interviewed by Anderson Cooper. It was a 60-minute interview. If you live in the United States, you know what 60 minutes is. It's like under 60 minutes, they try to condense people, in that time to come up with things that will really, like they examine. And it's something that he said. He said, reading is key and then asking questions. Look at that. Reading is key and then asking questions. It's so important because when you learn, you're going to earn. It's just a law. It's like, day coming after night. It's like a shadow. If you learn, you're going to earn. If you read, you're going to lead. If you know, you're going to grow. If you assimilate, you're going to accumulate. If you apply, you're going to receive supply. So it's so important that we understand what Bill Gates is talking about. Because you see, reading, it helps you build long-term thinking. Because like reading actually helps you improve your cerebrum, your frontal lobe, which is the part of your brain that is responsible for long-term thinking. Now, I know that sounds far-fetched to some people, so let me break it down in a way that people will understand. Now, and this has happened to me. I go to the gym regularly. Now, there's some times when, like I've tried to lift something and I can't lift it. And then so I keep on working out in the gym, keep on lifting weights, pumping iron, and I do other kinds of exercises. And then after about 2 weeks, I try to lift what I could not lift 2 weeks ago, and now I can lift it. Why? Because going to the gym has made me stronger, has developed my muscles, and now I'm stronger. I'm able to lift what I could not lift 2 weeks ago. Now look at it. Poverty is a burden. Poverty is a weight, and it's there in scripture. It says it in scripture. It's a burden. It's a weight. And then if you go into the gym of your mind, which is reading, now you're reading, the part of your brain, your frontal lobe, that is responsible for long-term thinking, long-term thinking becomes stronger. And because that part of your brain, it becomes stronger, you are able to lift poverty and throw it away. Because long-term thinking is very necessary. It's one of the leading strategies for attacking poverty. I'll give you a very good example. A lot of people, and this is very common in the third world, a lot of people, they get some money, they borrow more money, they take out loans to have a wedding. They throw a society wedding, a talk of the town wedding, and then they enter into their poverty, into their marriage with poverty. And even worse, they enter into their marriage with debt. And so it's very, very hard for them to come out of that, because soon after marriage the woman becomes pregnant, more responsibilities, and then you now having to look after three people, and then you couldn't do it very well when you were looking after yourself. So you can see long-term thinking will help you avoid that. It will help you say, okay, well, look, I don't have that much, so I'm going to have a reasonable wedding so that I can keep much of the of my wealth for my marriage. So you see, that's how long-term thinking affects, poverty. And a lot of people, they don't read. The last time, they read a book was when they were in school and they were forced to read that book. They were forced to read that book. It's not like they read the book because they chose to read the book. And then now they are poor, and then a lot of them in Africa, in Asia, because I've traveled to all these places, they begin to say, it's my village people. It's my village people that are making me poor, And then, this whole habit of it, when saying that it's my village people making me poor, at the end of the day, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. They become poor and then they hate their village people. But it's not their village people making them poor. What's making them poor is their village habits. It's their village habits. Give me a second, please. So now, if you have these village habits, what are these village habits? You are not reading, you are watching television, you are eating more than you need, and then you're getting fatter, and then you see that you're getting fatter as a sign of, you're a big man, that's a sign that you're a big man. Now that's a major problem in a lot of the developing world. If you read scripture, if you read Luke chapter 4 verse 16, let me get my own scripture for you. That is it here. I always encourage people, I read scripture from my phone, but I always like people, read scripture, from the physical book. It's very, very important. Now, that's mine, Now, this is not in English, so I read scripture in English. I also read scripture in other languages. So we're going to open to Luke chapter 4, verse 16. Luke chapter 4, verse 16. Now, if you open to Luke chapter 4, verse 16, it says that as was his custom, he got up to read. As was his custom, he got up to read. Now, this person that we're talking about is Christ. Christ, the Son of God, the personification of God's wisdom. And then he had a custom of reading. Now, you've seen that Bill Gates, one of the richest men in the world, has a custom of reading. And if you Google or you go on YouTube, you just search it, you see Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is not just one of the richest men in the world, but Warren Buffett is one of the people who's been able to make other people wealthy. $1,000 invested with him in 1960 will make you more than a multi-millionaire. I think you'll be having about 100 million. So he doesn't only make himself rich, he makes others rich. And what did he say about wealth? He says that the key to his wealth is reading. That before breakfast he has read probably 100 pages. Just reading. Now you think about it. And then the next thing that Bill Gates said there, he said that reading is key and then asking questions. A lot of people don't like to ask questions. They think, oh, if I ask questions, I'm going to sound stupid. Listen, it's better to sound stupid for a second than to remain stupid for the rest of your life. And you know what? The only stupid question is the question that you do not ask. Ask questions. I ask a bunch of questions. I ask a lot of questions. And the truth is that when you ask questions, people don't think you're stupid. They actually think that you're smart, particularly when you ask smart questions. Ask questions. Now, a lot of people don't have attention as they used to. What's happened is that social media, Netflix, things like that have stolen people's attention. So human attention span is reducing. So I understand that. If you cannot read a book, then download the app, Blinkist. It's going to flash up on the screen, and then you're going to see the app as well. Blinkist condenses books so that you can actually just, blink and then you've actually read the book. So it's going to tell you the salient points of the book. It's going to tell you what the book is trying to say. It's going to tell you the principles in that book. And then you are reading it, and then so you have a list that you read every day, maybe 5 books, and then you read the summary of those books, and then your frontal lobe is growing. When your frontal lobe is growing, then what's happening there is that you're able to have long-term thinking. And when you have long-term thinking, maybe $1,000 hits your hand, you're not thinking, oh gosh, I'm going to buy a new iPhone 13. No, because your frontal lobe is developed, so you have long-term thinking. So you say, okay, well, what's happening there is okay, I can buy gold ETF, I can invest in an index fund, I can buy crypto, especially Bitcoin and Ethereum. Shiba is doing very, 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 very well now. Or maybe I can just invest in mutual funds, and then my money grows, and then, I'm able to have something like an income regularly, and then that's long-term thinking. If you bought an iPhone, probably last year. Now this year is worth probably half the value, especially with the emergence of the new iPhone 13. So your iPhone 12 is worth half of what you paid for it. But if you had bought maybe an index fund, by now your index fund would be 15% larger. So if you bought an index fund with $1,000, okay, so it's now a 15% larger. So you think about that. So you've had $150 to your $1,000. So you now have $1,150. So that's how you build wealth. Now look at this picture. It's going to flash up on the screen. This is a true story, a true picture. This is Jeff Bezos, probably the world's richest man. It's not known who it is. He and Elon Musk, they fight for that title. But look at him in 1994 and look at him today. You see that? That is what reading does, because Elon Musk is a great reader. He says he consumes book more than people consume oxygen. And look at that. Look at what reading has done for him. Because you see, look at that, 1994 And look at that. Long-term thinking. Over a long term, he's developed his cerebrum, his frontal lobe, and his frontal lobe has helped him conquer poverty. My name is Renan Mokri. If you've watched this and you have questions arising from this, put them in the comment section, and then my staff will curate them. They'll bring them to me. Now, remember, I do not have a WhatsApp channel or WhatsApp forum. I do not have a Telegram channel. I do not have a Gmail email address. So you're going to see a bunch of scammers, because they know that my videos tend to go viral. They'll come in the comment section telling you, guideline, I will mentor you, I will mentor you, I will help you. More info. Listen, they scammed a lot of people, made them become suicidal. Don't be scammed. Thank you for watching, and God bless you.